What's going on, Wolfpack Nation? We are back for part 2, y'all, and now it is time to get down to the nitty and gritty, y'all, and I think what everybody has been waiting for, which is, all right, so what's going to happen in 2024? What are we going to see? What's going to happen? Who are the guys that are going to step out this year? Who are going to be the guys to get us that elusive ACC title? Who are going to be the guys to get us back to Omaha so we can have that revenge tour from 2021? And we got, again, if you missed part 1, if you haven't seen part 1 yet, make sure to go and do that first and foremost. And they come right back here as we are joined once again by LuJames, Gino Groover, former NC State third baseman, power hitter, man, myth, legend, whatever you want to call him. So, and number 48 overall pick to the Arizona Diamondbacks. So, with that being said, Gino, I think all the people who are watching Step 1 are like probably screaming into their laptop or their phone or whatever right now, saying, who are the guys that Gino is alluding to? Like, who are those guys that he has his eye on? So without further ado, kind of give me your initial, what are your initial kind of couple of names or 1 or 2 names, whatever, that you're saying are going to take a huge step forward in this upcoming season, in your opinion?
First, I'm going with Cozart.
Yeah.
Personally, I lived with Cozart personally. So, I seen him every day. Obviously a phenomenal catcher. I think any pitcher would love having him. And then he's also been very productive with the bat. Obviously as a catcher, defense comes first. But if you can be elite at both, you can make a good living for yourself. And I think Cozart is going to go out there and do something special this year. Obviously, probably like top 5, top 3. I'm taking Cozart as my one, best catcher in the country, personally. But I think Cozart is going to take an even bigger leap with his bat this year. And then that's just going to, solidify him as, that guy in a way. Because, like I said, it's hard to come by a very productive defensive catcher that can also swing the bat. So, at the end of the day, the catchers, they can see the whole field. They know everything that's going on. So being able to be elite on both ends of the ball, that's what you live for as a baseball player. And then my second pick, I'm trying to think. Returners, probably. I know Souls returned. Mm-hmm. I probably put Souls somewhere. I know he got hurt last year. Mm-hmm, yeah. And he came back, but obviously, right? Yeah, it was bothering him a long time. So I'm hoping he's healthy. Souls, he comes to the field, puts the work in every day. And, obviously baseball, I think, is a game where sometimes you don't see or you don't get the return and the investment that you put in. But I think Souls goes out there and has a good year this year, especially being fully healthy. If he's fully healthy, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not there. But if he's fully healthy, I think Souls goes on to do something very productive. Put him at that leadoff spot, walks a lot, makes a lot of contact. Tough guy. And then I'll probably take in for my third breakout pick, probably Eli. Yep. I don't know where Eli's going to play this year. I don't know.
It sounds like he's projecting maybe in the outfield.
In the outfield. He's actually really good in the outfield.
Yeah.
So I can see that. And then probably backup first base when needed or something like that. I don't know. That doesn't hurt having a 6-7 person over there. So. But he's also really good in the outfield as well, so I think that plays. And he's probably taking leaps forward with his bat this year. Pretty productive freshman year, if I would say so. He brings good energy to the field as well. So I'm taking Eli with my third pick.
Okay, yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah, no, I think for Cozart, he's a guy that when the news came out about Cannon Peebles decided to go and transfer to Tennessee, a lot of pushbacks coming and be like, really? We let Cannon Peebles go, but we decided to keep Jacob Cozart, and I think that, to me, it's kind of one of those things where, I want Cozart to kind of keep that in mind, be like, I'll show you guys this year, that it's
take it personal.
It was by far the best decision that at the end of the day, let Cannon Peebles be the young gun guy to go and, try and establish himself on a very, high class SEC baseball team in Tennessee. And then let LuJames Groover establish himself potentially as one of the greatest catchers to ever come out of NC State. I think that ceiling is there. Now, I know that's a very there's a lot of guys I can think of between Andrew, Kisner and Brett Austin, and Patrick Bailey. That's a pretty elite list of catchers right there. But I still fully think that LuJames. I'm sorry that LuJames. Yeah, that Jacob Cozart can end his NC State career being on that list, and I would not be shocked by it.
Yeah, I mean, neither would I. Like I said, I think he's put himself in a great position to go out there and do something special for this team. Obviously, he's older now, probably one of the leaders on the team, you know. So I'm just hoping he takes care of business. Like you said, yeah, personally, myself, I would probably take that personal. If we like so and so go, like, I mean, I love Cannon too. Like, I mean, but I mean, at the end of the day, he's doing what he thinks is best for him, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Nope. No, and it's. I mean, he's got to. I talked with Cannon's dad when everything happened, and it made sense from all. He was going to get limited at bats, limited playing time behind the plate.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Yeah, I mean, he would go into his draft year with like minimal tape.
Yeah.
At least for offensively, he would be solid. But like you said earlier, defense comes first, and scouts want to see what you can do behind the plate, not at the plate.
Especially as a catcher.
Yeah.
As a catcher, the defense is always a priority.
Absolutely.
I mean, it would be tough because obviously you have Cozart, and then you have Sosa coming in.
Yeah.
It's just catcher's room is blowing up right there. So I think personally, I think what he did is probably it might have been the best decision for him. I
think it's going to work out for all parties, right?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, Cozart's going to do what he needs to do. Peoples is going to do what he needs to do, and then you have Sosa coming in after him.
Right. And speaking of Sosa, like that was kind of like the, would he make it to campus? Would he, get drafted? And he came out early on and said, like I'm committed to state, and I'm really committed to state. And then, obviously he didn't. I think Major League Baseball saw that, and they didn't draft him. So that again worked out really well for NC State baseball moving forward. And but yeah, I think by all accounts he's probably going to get penciled in. At least at some DH. He'll probably get some spot starts behind Cozart just to give him a day off.
Yeah.
But I'm excited. He's just one of many of the freshmen that we brought in. We've brought in 13 new freshmen this year, and they got rated by D1 Baseball as the 5th best class. So that's just something, again, that NC State has really done, well, both at the transfer portal, which we were ranked 12th, and we have 6 of those guys coming in. I guess just take a minute and just kind of talk about Coach Hart and the way he recruits folks, because I don't think he gets enough credit.
Yeah. The man can recruit. That's one thing he can do. I mean, at the end of the day, I think obviously like we're looking for good people. Like I think obviously you want a good player as well, but you don't want you also want a good person. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one thing he's able to play both sides of the ball on. He goes and gets good players who are also good people.
Yeah.
You don't want anyone coming in disturbing the peace in the locker room. Now you got a divided locker room and stuff like that. You always want to be one. At the end of the day, yes, only 9 people are going to play. It's just the way it is, but you still want to be one. At the end of the day, the only thing that matters come February, 15th, 16th, is the wins and the losses.
Absolutely.
Amen. Yeah.
I think that's the thing with anywhere. You have time to do, your solo dolo stuff and, make a name for yourself. But when come that time, you do that in the fall or off season, stuff like that. Because by the time when that season starts, end of the day, winning is the only thing that matters.
Right. Well, because I think too that the more you win, the more you put yourself in bigger situations, in bigger spotlights. I mean, if you're, hitting, bases loaded, bottom of the ninth in Omaha, I guarantee you, whatever you do in that moment, that can make or break a lot in terms of the MLB scout's eyes. And I think for you as an athlete, for you as a competitor, you want that opportunity. So that's why I'm saying to those people is, hey, listen, you're looking at this year's team, and then we'll talk more about it. Talking about, you have now a really established, very experienced pitching staff. You have a lot of potential great hitters that can be 300 plus hitters. And so you're a very deep team this year. So you're saying to all the guys, listen, if we buy in and if everybody gets into the role, we're going to be an opportunity to play for an ACC title. We're going to play for an opportunity to go back to Omaha once again, which I do want to kind of ask you, Gino. Yeah, sign me up. But I do want to kind of ask you, Gino, real quick. So you kind of mentioned earlier in terms of wanting to win a conference title. So real quick, would you rather have a trip to a super regional or an ACC title? What would you rather have?
I mean, I think it depends because
I mean, are you winning the Super Regional?
yeah, I was saying
yeah.
like because like from the sounds of it, the ACC title is guaranteed.
Right.
True.
So
So it's kind of the line like if I were to give you like Omaha or ACC, that's where you might say Omaha. Is that
Kind of like
I
how we
mean-
did in 21, where I mean, in 21 we didn't win the ACC, but we made it to Omaha. So,
Omaha.
so yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
probably the better question: winning an ACC championship or making it to the College World Series, not necessarily winning it.
I mean, if I had to choose between both, I'm going to Omaha.
There you go. I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Like, okay, like, yeah, we didn't win the championship. That's fine. Now let's go win this championship, the big one.
Yeah, I agree.
Agreed.
So talking about some of the transfers, one of the guys that I kind of want to talk about, and you may know a little bit about him having played against him, and it's AMAC, who's projected to slide into your spot there at the hot corner. How much do you know about him? And just kind of, I know you've played against him numerous times from your time at Charlotte and both at State.
Yeah, I think I played him. We played
5 times if I did my math right when I looked it up. No, actually, no. You played a 3-game series, so yeah, 5 times. No, 9
I'm
times.
trying to think. Yeah, I probably played him close to 10 times.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because we played him
3
twice.
times East or Charlotte. We played them in the
Yep.
series. Then we went to their regional.
Oh, okay.
So
Forgot about that.
Yeah, I remember the first time we played him, Gavin Williams was closing, and then we went to the regional and he was starting then, and then he
Gotcha.
goes on. He's like a top 10 pick like that year, and I was like, all right, okay. So what's that? 4, 6, so about 8, 9 times. Yeah. I mean, from what I know, the times we played them, he was switch hitter, and he was always, for the most part, sure-handed at third base. I mean, obviously, as a you want to take hits away from other people and limit other people getting on base. So from a defensive standpoint, like I think you're gonna get a sure-handed third baseman who makes plays. And he was also, like I said, switch hitting. Switch hitting is hard, and then trying to do both at a high level is even harder. But I mean, he's always been able to hit pretty well. And then I think as from being a position player at NC State, like they hit, we're gonna hit.
Yeah.
So I think you get Hart, Bo Rob in there mixing some stuff. I think they'll elevate him to another level as well.
Yeah.
So I think you should get some good production out of him.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, especially from a left-handed hitting perspective, you can get in that dope jet stream, right, from center to right field, that right field center
Left
jet
field.
stream. It always seems to get launched
Always.
from there. Yeah,
That dope stream.
Yeah, that could be a nice added bonus. Now that I wouldn't even think about it until now because I did forget that he was a switch hitter. But yeah.
Before we continue, we want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flatlands Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need, offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flatlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flatlands Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flatlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out. Yeah. And so, obviously, like with AMAC, like you were saying, I mean, he's most known, obviously, for being a switcher, but also, too, his defense. How last year he had a .963 fielding percentage, which is one of the best in the country. And then on top of that, he still hit 272, 352 slugging, or 352 on base, and 467 slugging. So and he's 7 for 12 on stolen bases. So I mean, really that all-around player, to kind of step in just like into your role, like you were saying, Gino. So a great get there, and again, a guy who has experience, who's played, and with a great baseball program,
200 plus games.
Exactly. So I mean,
He's playing a lot of
big
what
games
you're getting.
Too. Oh, big games, 100%.
Yeah, I think in my 3 years, I think ECU hosted regionals and supers at least twice in those 3 years.
Yeah, that's true. Postseason plays a big one, right? Someone that can bring you some of that leadership. You just mentioned the speed of 7-12. 7-12 on stolen bases. I think this is a team too. Like you mentioned earlier, if Noah gets healthy, he can swipe some bases. Eli's got some deceptive speed. You're bringing in Luke Nixon, who has got speed. I think this is a team. And maybe you can lend some inside baseball, if you will, pardon the pun. Other than like obviously the Trey Turner years, like I felt like over the last couple of years we haven't stolen a lot of bases. Is that a philosophy with Avent, or is just based on talent or personnel? I wouldn't say talent, but personnel.
I don't think it's really nothing to do with the coaches. I mean, for me, I know I'm not no burner. I'm not stealing no bags. I may catch somebody lacking every now and then.
Right.
Yeah.
But like I'm just not a person who's gonna get on base and you can guarantee I'm going. Like that was never my game.
Yeah.
For me, I just hit doubles.
Yeah, I mean,
I get second base that way.
Yeah, and the philosophy of baseball has changed, right? Like it's changed from small ball to long ball. Kind of like how NBA is gone to the 3-point shooting.
Ball,
I think the game has just evolved. So maybe
I
that's
think
just some of it.
My key on that, I think people who have a balance of both win a lot of games.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, apply pressure to some teams, boom, bunt, stolen base here, get the defense moving. Now they start panicking. The next thing you know, here comes whoever it is, 25 home runs this year, nuke, 2 runs, just like that. Mm-hmm. All because you got some people moving, get the pitcher in a stretch a little bit. Now he's uncomfortable. Maybe he likes throwing out the windup. And I think that's needed, especially because, pitching is only going up somehow. For example, we played Wake Forest last year. You get Red Lauder on Friday night, Sullivan, or Hartle Saturday, then you get Sullivan Sunday. Not even to mention, well, I don't know if a lot of people pay attention, but they were still missing one of their main guys who had Tommy John. I think McGraw.
Mm-hmm.
When you take that into account, hitting becomes hard, scoring becomes scarce.
Yeah.
You got to be able to produce runs.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if you know this, but they have a pitching lab.
Yeah, also, $1 million pitching lab.
No,
so.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that because if you watch the College World Series last year, they mentioned it no less than 100 times. The stupid pitching lab. So I just was kind of just making mockery of it. And we got our own pitching lab this year, so that's going to be exciting for our pitchers.
We have a pitching lab?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Where's
right
that?
now it's mobile. It's outdoors. I believe Carlos Rodon, if I'm not mistaken, put some money towards a new indoor pitching facility. I know Trey and his wife, Kristen, put some money towards some stuff, but I think there's an indoor one. But they've been. I got some inside knowledge that they had to turn it off one day because the guys were more interested in their velo than where they were putting the ball at. But
more interested in how fast they're throwing.
Yeah,
than accuracy.
Yeah. It was just funny.
95 to the backstop.
Yeah.
I want to talk about our pitching because we mentioned it kind of in the first episode that we're going to be so deep, and that I kind of want to talk about a couple of your former roommates and PJ Labriola and Wynn Scott. Just your thoughts on them having bigger roles carved out for them this year, because I think there's definitely a role for them. I know Wynn had some injuries last year, and PJ had some spot starts in the middle of the week, but just kind of talk about them both from an on-field and off-field perspective.
I love living with them. They're good people. We have fun. We live our life, and nothing crazy. Great roommates, clean. That's all you can really ask for. For Wynn, obviously I haven't seen either one of them really this year, but
for sure.
From my experience, Wynn moves the ball a lot. Nothing straight. Everything's gonna be going one way or the other. Now, guessing correctly which one you want to sit on, or if you want to sit on one that's moving away from you, probably, which is what majority of us would do from a righty-lefty standpoint.
Yeah.
Then you got to guess speed correctly.
Yeah.
Heater, changeup, stuff like that. It plays a role. A split second changes the whole swing.
Yeah.
So with him, I think personally, Wynn has great stuff. When it comes to just being able to put the ball over the plate, those strikes for the most part.
Yeah.
And a lot of movement, just hard, and it's hard on righties. It's even harder on lefties.
Right.
And then PJ, from what I've heard, everybody's saying his velo's up. So
that's what I heard too. It's up like 2 or 3 miles an hour.
Yeah, so you start getting a lefty running it up there, 3, 4, 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that plays. And then left, especially then all you gotta do is line his secondary stuff. Come in, he'll kill lefties, get righties. At the end of the day, I think just whatever the role is, excel at that role for that time. That's whatever needed.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, I think we're gonna have a lot of lefties. Obviously, you got Big John in there still, who's a lefty specialist.
Yeah, lefties.
Yeah, and so I like matchups for us this year.
Yeah, I think we have a lot of matchups this year.
Yeah.
Who else? Think of what? Fritton.
Yep. Well, that's just it. There's so many good pitchers. Is like, okay, who's going to be your starting 3 to 4, right? Maybe 5, depending on because you're going to have your weekend starters plus 1 or 2 midweek guys.
Yeah.
But wouldn't you say your weekend's pretty much locked in between Fritton, Willitson, and Highfield? I mean, that's pretty much I would assume your weekend 3 right there.
So what are you doing with Logan?
Okay. Well, hey, then there's your midweek.
Right. Right. But then they all those dudes got good stuff. So like who's going to be your closer? Like you may be hoping for a Carson Kelly or maybe Pete.
I think
who's got nasty
let's
stuff.
see.
I mean, will Moralia could he not be that guy?
He's pretty much a lefty on lefty guy. Like
Yeah, he's like. I think Mariah's more of a bullpen. Like,
Yeah.
all right, come in and get these people out. I'm trying to think. If I was to choose right now, I'll probably say. I mean, Fritton shoved last year, but the other 3, the experiences out of this
Right.
world.
And then if Matt comes healthy, I know Matt's been dealing with some, I think, leg, hip, something like that.
Probably his hip.
Yeah, and so if he comes back clean and healthy, so there are some questions. Are these guys going to be ready to rock and roll, and are they at full strength? And you pray that they are, and because if this team is at full strength and at its best, I do think we're going to have one of the better, if not, it's hard to say best, right? Because you have Wake Forest, they're going to be the cream.
He's loaded.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, it's also just tough because there's a lot of other people. Like, I think the hardest part would be the weekends. Midweeks, they can work around midweeks with different people.
Right.
I think
you can make a quote unquote
rotation.
a bullpen game, right? Like where
I mean, yeah, because you could throw somebody in like Schaffner, get 3, 4, 5 innings out of him probably, like on a good day. But then you also got to take into consideration if you want to use him later on in the week, stuff like that matters.
Yeah.
So like you could probably like limit his innings a little bit so you can have him available on weekends.
Yeah.
So it just depends on stuff like that. That's what a lot of midweeks really are. You want to save a little bit of pitching while handling business at the same time. So it's like a little chess game.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I have somebody going in on like a Tuesday, Wednesday, and they're throwing 5, 6 innings of 1-hit baseball, like all right, like I'm not gonna mess with the groove right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, the other thing too is like who kind of slides into that Baker Nelson role, right? Because he's kind of like a Swiss Army knife where he would
he'll
give
start
you
midweeks.
Yeah,
he'll
exactly.
come back later on in the later half of the weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I could probably see like Schaffner probably doing something like that. Maybe even like Derek Smith. Probably based off how he's looking. I mean, Derek has good stuff personally.
Could be one of these young freshmen too, right? Because we haven't even talked about the Chance Makos, the Jackson Lucas.
That's true. They got some power arms in this freshman class.
Yeah. So and then you have transfer in Shane Van Dam, I think the kid from New York.
I heard good
who's
things
pretty
about
tall,
him.
and you got a guy like, what is
Garrett
what
Payne
is Garrett
too.
Payne going to come back and do, right? Is he going to be an arm that you're going to be able to use?
I think
from that bridge surgery.
I think they give him a couple if he's like good enough, like good to where like he can. I think you give him a little midweek starter too, just to let him get some game reps in. Limit his innings a little bit. Just let him go out there and get some live reads and like that game feel again, that real game feel essentially. I mean,
kind of back to that whole Sam
year.
Highfield thing, right? Get the feel back.
Yeah, you got to. You don't want to just throw somebody in the fire and then now you're upset because they weren't to their full potential maybe yet or full feeling and stuff like that. So probably like that first midweek, let them go out there. Maybe it don't got to be nothing crazy. So give them 2-3 innings maybe.
Yeah. And too, it's kind of funny that I feel like with all NC State fans, it's basically a routine thing with every single sport that they have to complain about the out of conference and then say, well, the out of conference is so weak, and obviously for baseball it's the easiest to basically just come back at that being like, well, that's because the in conference is so freaking ridiculous because there is no off weekend. They see ACC.
No.
Every single ACC team is
good.
at
Yeah.
least good, if
at
not elite.
at a minimum.
Yeah, at a minimum
like,
good.
I mean, like the worst team in the ACC could probably go out there and win you 35, 40 games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because then that team kind of gets overlooked because they're just getting beat by other teams in the same conference who happen to be better at the time, which is what crazy because then you'd be like, oh, y'all wasn't good this year, but if you put them somewhere else, they'll probably run your favorite team somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
like if you look at the lower half of the ACC, I mean, you could make the argument Boston College.
Who was great last year. They were really good, actually.
Right, we struggled
think-
with them last year.
I think the worst team in the ACC last year was, what, Florida State, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean,
That's not gonna last.
yeah, I mean, that obviously coaching, that a coach change and
Coach
really,
Jarrett
like
is-
all freshmen playing. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
because
saw what he did
Coach
with
Jarrett took
Dame.
Notre Dame to the College World Series a couple years ago. Like,
He'll get it back. Yeah.
yeah,
Florida State, like, they're going to be good.
right. Yeah,
That's
Florida.
crazy to say. Like, who would ever say that Florida State was the worst team in the ACC? Probably,
Yeah.
you probably haven't heard that in 100 years.
Oh, totally. Easily.
Yeah, I'm just pulling up the schedule right here, and honestly, our easiest series is is again Boston College. And I'm talking about ACC wise and Notre Dame. Georgia Tech,
Notre Dame
which shouldn't be
comes to us
too
this
bad,
year.
but
Both
it's on
of
the
them come to
road.
us. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what makes it hard. You know, you start going to Boston College.
yeah.
And
Thankfully,
like,
we
what,
have them at home this
early
year.
March. Early March is 15 degrees outside, and you're like, all right, they practiced in this, and we're coming up here from North Carolina, where it's probably like 40, 45 on a bad day. Probably
That bat
maybe a
stings,
little
doesn't it,
colder.
when you hit?
Yeah, it starts getting a little wicked out there. You know, especially like that's why they call it home field advantage.
Yeah.
The one
Yeah.
thing I'll say about the schedule that you're probably not going to be happy with, Gino, is you missed Hawaii by 1 year. If this would have
I
been
know,
your draft
right?
year.
I remember because they was talking about it last year, and I was like, dang. I was like, we gonna see what happens though.
Yep. Yep. Yeah,
So
no,
when they
and
go to-
again, I mean, no matter what, you're playing. In-state has a routine of playing Coastal Carolina, playing UNCG,
And that's it.
playing ECU, playing Campbell. Which
Speaking
none
of
of
that-
those are rollovers.
Like, speaking of that, see, a lot of people say like the out of conference schedule, but like when you think about it, like what the midweeks, you're usually gonna play other powerhouses in North Carolina who are powerhouses in their conference, and then early on in the season, I mean, obviously it's a little different. Maybe you have teams coming up from up north who can't physically play on their field, so stuff like that. So series like that. But when you really get to like March, after like the first 2 weeks, you start playing. ACC play starts a lot quicker than what a lot of people think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like ACC play comes. It was like I remember I was like, man, we already like in ACC play. Like I remember we went to like Miami, I think, first series, and it was like it felt like we was only playing 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like here comes ACC play.
I thought that was funny last year how you go to Miami like in March and then you go right to Boston College
to
right
Boston
after that. I'm
College
like,
right after.
I
Yeah,
was like,
like-
gosh, man, that's brutal. Like you're like,
Right.
shorts and tank
Something
tops
like
and
that.
you're wearing parkas the next week. Like it's
Yeah, well, we go to Florida. It's 85 degrees out March 1st, and then we go to Boston College 2 weeks later, and it's 10 degrees outside. You're like,
Yeah.
all right.
yeah. Thanks ACC.
Oh, speaking of that, I got one question, or like I got some opinions. Didn't Pac-12 stuff happening with that? What's happening?
Yeah, so next year they'll get
Next year?
incorporated. So we'll have Stanford, Cal, and SMU will be on the baseball schedule.
That's
Assuming,
gonna be crazy.
I assume SMU plays baseball. I know Cal still does. They almost lost their program, ironically, about 15 years ago, and they were going to get rid of it. The year they were going to get rid of it, they ended up making the College World Series, and they kept it. So
And I was like, yep, can't get rid of it now.
yeah. So and then of course Stanford always has good baseball. I mean, we played them in the College World Series in 2021, so they'll bring some value there. But yeah, that's when that happens. It'll be so they officially join this fall, so they're in for football, but then they won't actually play us until spring of next year.
2025, all right.
Yep.
What are your thoughts, Gino? I feel like for baseball especially, like, man, like it just having to travel all the way there, which is what 4
It's a
4-hour
5-hour flight. Yeah.
Yeah,
5
but
hour
it's probably
flight?
longer
Yeah.
than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, 5-hour flight. Like, just I feel like it's kind of walk me through it. Like what would your mindset be? I mean, like I know at the end of the day, I mean, you're not going to make excuses. You're going to go out there and you're going to find a way to win, no matter what, no matter how far you're going, no matter what weather you're playing in, whatever it may be. But I mean, that's just not something that you've ever had to deal with before, to go play a weekend series.
Yeah,
you know?
weekend series across the country for conference play is wild. No,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, like I said, they're going to Hawaii this year, but like that's beforehand. You know, like
Right.
all right.
Second series of the season.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, going across the country, I mean, it's not even easy. I mean, they'll probably leave like Wednesday. Maybe they might let them leave Wednesday because obviously, you know, we usually travel on Thursday, and we get to like those Thursdays in practice. Unless they leave,
They would probably play.
I
They would
mean,
probably
they're
leave
not-
Wednesday evening, probably
either that or they'll leave Thursday because I just got thinking like what 3 hours behind.
3 hours
So,
behind. Yeah. Yeah.
so
Well,
that time difference-
one for Texas, but 3 for the other 2. Yeah.
I was thinking about Stanford. That's on me.
Yeah. No, it's fair.
Like from that, like you also got to tell you like that time change is gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
It'll probably hit them worse coming back.
Right.
So I
yeah.
mean, imagine being one of those teams. They got to come play Boston College. They're like, all right, now you skip. Like for example, Stanford. They're gonna skip 3 or yeah, they're gonna go up 3 hours, lose a little bit of sleep. Yeah, you're like, all right, probably not used to that cold at all. It's gonna be hard for the first year. I don't know if it'll last, but I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, they've even said like, I mean, we're getting a little bit off topic, but you know, like they may even do like some games like closer, you know, this side, maybe split the difference or something like that. So it will
Like
be
meet in the
interesting to
middle.
see what they end up doing ultimately. But it's gonna be crazy, like for the ACC championship. Like I couldn't see them holding the ACC championship in California. Like you know, so
No.
like any bit of their fan
No
base is
shot.
gonna have to come this side of
Probably,
the country.
Yeah. I
No
mean,
shot.
Yeah.
when I was there, it was
It-
in
it-
Charlotte and Durham.
Yeah.
It would be just like as if when they held the AC championships in Louisville, where like nobody would show up except if Louisville played. If Louisville played, then it was packed. But if
Yeah.
Louisville wasn't playing, then there was nobody there. Which is why, once again, it makes zero sense why you would ever take the AC championship outside of North Carolina. It's right in the middle of everybody, and right
Yeah.
in North Carolina, there's
Easy
4 to
airports.
5 teams
Yeah.
right here, and
Yeah.
there's 2 in Virginia and 1 in South Carolina. So. Anyway, but just to kind of wrap this thing up here, Gino. So what would you say, like, if I were to tell you, hey, guess what, Gino? We made it. We won the AC title, and we made it to Omaha, man. We had a ridiculously good year. Then what would your immediate comment be in your head of like, oh, well, this must have happened? Like, what would you say, like, in order for us to reach our peak, what, in your opinion, would we need to do in order to make that happen?
From my experiences, I think I think the pitching took a step up. Mm-hmm. So obviously, like that goes back to what I was saying earlier. There's gonna be a lot of games where you're not scoring a lot of runs.
Yep.
You're gonna face a lot of really good people, but they also have really good people. Mm-hmm. So just go out there and pitchers do their job and they play good. I think this is limit the mistakes. Back to what I was saying at the start, I believe. Like, what was that, part 1? Yep. Limit the mistakes. Pitchers do their job. Defense does their job. The Packers don't rake.
Keep those cricket numbers off the scoreboard, right?
Yeah. Literally limit those, and just let them be who they normally are and hit. Win a lot of games.
I love it.
So just
Awesome,
the mistakes.
Gino. I appreciate it. Greg, any last question before we wrap this thing
No,
up, bud?
Gino, just give us your social so people, if they want to follow you out there on anything you got, to follow your journey, because I know it's going to be exciting. I know I follow you everywhere, and I love following, especially guys that I got to see in person in college. So for me, it's exciting watching your guys' journeys. But throw your socials out there so if anyone wants to follow it along.
My Instagram is the real Gino Groover, and I think my Twitter is like just Gino_Groover, like Groover_Gino, something like that.
Yeah. So I'll have the link to both those in the description of this video. So make sure you get y'all to go check out Gino if you're not already following him on social media, and stay in touch with them so that way you can follow him on his journey through Arizona and through the league, man, all the way up to the show, man. But Gino, thank you so much for your time, brother. Really do appreciate it, and we wish you all the best of luck, man. And
Yes,
hope
sir.
to see you in the show one day, man.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, y'all. And then for us, make sure, again, Wolfpack Nation to go and support these guys, this 2024 Pac-9 team, man. It's going to be an awesome year. Excited to see this team rake, just like Gino was saying. And then for us, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell if you haven't already. And then also, too, if you enjoyed this conversation, if you're excited about Pac-9 baseball, hit that like button. Make sure to give us a follow, Tuffy Talk Now, on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, y'all. But with that being said, thank you all so much. We'll see y'all soon, and go Pack,
Go
y'all.
Pac-9.
Sir.